Hi, it's Kim from Blank Page Muse. We're a little rubber stamp company in Riverside, California, and today I have a really fun holiday-themed, shiny, sparkly card to share with you featuring our newest little stamp, Gnome. His name is StarBright, and he's designed by a wonderful artist in Tennessee named Pam Bray. Pam's been with us since day one of our stamp company. She has a whole dedicated section, as do our other featured artists, at blankpagemuse.com. I really hope you stop by and check out all the stamps because we have more than you can possibly imagine. Take the time to enjoy. But anyway, here's the card we're going to make together today. Hope you like it, and let's get crafting. Thank you. Okay, here we go. I've got a bunch of stuff laid out here on my desk. First of all, here's our website, blankpagemuse.com, and if you go here and use the coupon code 𝐒𝐲𝐵RIGHT, you're going to be able to save 25% off anything you order, and that code is good until December 18th. And here's the kit that we've thoughtfully put together piece by piece for you. We made each of the rubber stamps ourselves. We pressed each one and trimmed them and mounted them and got them in this package for you. So really hope you love them. So here's the package. I've already got the stamps out because this is my own set. Let's go ahead and get the papers out and the stencil. I have the stencil set aside because I was playing with it earlier. Here's your cardstock that's all folded. Set it aside so it doesn't get all inky. This is the part that we're actually going to be stamping and stenciling on first with the tree and the stars, okay? I'm going to put the gnome aside and the sentiment, let your light shine. And I need to mention these stamps were hand-drawn by a wonderful artist named Pam Bray. She lives in Tennessee and she does so many creative things for us. A lot of our stamps are by Pam. And when you go to our shop, you're going to see a bunch of sections. There's featured artists. Make sure you take a look and go to Pam's section. She's got an amazing collection with us. So anyway, I'm going to set these aside for now. And I'm going to get ready to do the tree stamp here. Move some stuff out of my way. I need room, otherwise I make a mess or drop something. That's the biggest thing with the tree. It's a really nice size stamp and it's heavy, so I'm using the stamp platform for it. That's a mouthful. Anyway, I'm going to set the pens aside and I'll talk about those a little bit in a few minutes, okay? So the tree, I want to stamp it a little off sides from the backer here, the piece that we're going to put on the card itself. I don't want to fill up the whole thing with the tree. I want a little bit of white space here. So I've got it set up in here. And let me lift this up. And I'm going to put this paper here. You can see I tested it earlier so I could figure out where I wanted it. So where I want it, I'm going to put the magnets down to hold that. And let's get this out of my way and just get this over a wee bit. There we go. And I'm going to ink up the stamp. It does take a couple of times, at least for me it does. I think my stamp pad's a little dry. I need some more ink on it. But anyways, go ahead and you're going to do the tree very first on that background piece. Go ahead and ink it up, whatever technique you like, go for it. I'm doing it in black, that's what I have handy, but you know, it'd be really pretty if you did it in a brown or any other color, even green, whatever works for you. I like the silhouette look and that's what I'm running with today. Okay, it's looking nice and shiny. So let's get the first layer down. Try to close that carefully so I don't drop it somewhere. There we go. It's pretty good for first stamping. It's against that trunk that I got to work on, so I'm going to ink it up again really quick. It gives you all some time to stamp away too. Just get that tree filled in how you like it, and sometimes you can even come back in with marker and fill it in if you want, if you're having trouble getting it stamped just right. Okay, and I'm going to do one more time. It's getting nice and dark now and filling in just that little bit on the trunk there. Looks good and shiny to me. Let's see if we can get it onto the paper. There we go. That looks pretty good. It's filled in nice and solid. I'm going to slide the magnets away and lift off this panel. And I'm going to get the platform out of the way. Be right back. Okay, here we go. Got the stamped panel with the tree. Next, we're going to stencil it. So get out your star stencil from your kit. And I'm going to angle it. I like angling things. And I want the small stars at the top and the bigger ones towards the bottom. Just set it up this way, however you like. And a little bit off sides here is fine. You're going to want to use a little bit of tape to hold it all down so while you're stenciling it doesn't scoot on you. Here we go. Sorry. And then a little bit at the bottom. And I'm also going to take a scrap piece of paper to put my fingers on to hold it and block off an area so I don't get any yellow where I don't really want it. For the yellow, I'm using what I had on hand, which is the Distress Oxide Squeezed Lemonade. It's the brightest and I think only bright yellow I have in my collection. So I like using brushes. They're really smooth and easy and they work really well on the stencils. So you can use whatever you like. And I like to start always from the top and work my way down to the bottom. So just make them as yellow as you want, as bright, vibrant, or pale, whatever you have in mind. I'm getting it all set here. Nice shade there so you can see it. Hope it shows up good for you. And I usually just do a swirling motion, fill it in, pull it in from the edges of the stencil, back into the open spots. Got a little bit overlapping on the tree, one little tree branch there. I think it's fine. Want to get all the tips of the stars defined. Color looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and do the one here at the very bottom. Get those corners in there. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm not doing this star here because it's going to be too much yellow on the black and I'm afraid it'll look kind of funny. So I'm just going to leave that one alone. Again, StarBright, our gnome, he's going to wind up going right about here anyway. So that'll be a good fit. And you can set the brush aside when you're all set. Leave the stencil in place for now. Give it a second to dry. And then you're going to grab your pens. And for this part, we're going to need the silver metallic gel and the gold one. I'm going to use the gold one first. As soon as this is dry, give it a second. The Distress inks dry pretty fast. And we're going to go ahead and do some scribbling inside the stencil on the stars just to give that little extra bit of interest, okay? You're going to want to hold your hand up so you don't really smear the ink all around. And maybe just use that paper again, okay? And again, it's just whatever kind of squiggles, scratches, swirls, whatever you like to do, just to give a little bit of fun and dimension to the stars. You can even trace around them on the inside, however you like. Just have a little bit of fun with that. A little bit here. There we go. There, that's good. I like that. Now go ahead and lift off your stencil. There we go. And set the stencil aside. We're done with it for now, okay? Got a little piece on the bottom here. I'm not going to worry too much about that. I can cover it up later. And now I'm going to take the silver pen, silver metallic pen, and we're going to draw little circles on the branches, on the tips of the branches, and just random places around. You can make the circles any size you like. Now I'm going to switch out my pen. I'm not sure how well the Jelly Roll Silver is showing up for you, so I'm switching over to the 𝐒𝐒𝐁𝐄 Silver Gel Pen. Let's see if that shows up a little better. A little more sparkly. These tend to stay a little wet a little longer, so be careful you don't smudge it all over. And again, you're just going to come in here and do some silver dots in random places. Take your time, do as much as little as you like. And even after it's done, you can come back in and go, oh yeah, I need something here. You can add it in. It's real easy to do once the card's assembled even. So just get some dots in there. They don't all have to be the same size, big, little, whatever works for you. Just have a little bit of fun with it. And let's do that. There we go. Put the pen aside. And I think that looks pretty good. And once that's dry, then come back to your gold pen, let everything dry. You're going to take your gold pen, gold metallic pen, and you're going to go around the border, all the way around the card. Just little squiggles, straight dashes, whatever lines you like, just to border it. And see that other part here at the bottom where it missed, it's fine. The tape kind of took some of the paper off. You're not really going to notice it once it's all done. And I'm just doing little random scribbles all around the edges here. I'm going to turn it over here. All the way around. Just some fun fill in here. And all the way across the tree, edge, everything, top to bottom, all around the corners. Look at it. You can do whatever pattern scribbles you're comfortable with. Just fun to fill it in. There we go. All right, that looks pretty good. Now the background is done. So, gonna set that aside. Here we go. And next up is stamping StarBright. I'm gonna use black VersaFine ink again. I have a piece of paper over here. I'm gonna stamp onto them. My own stamps aren't cushion cling mounted. The ones I sent you guys are. So just make sure you pull off that waxy backer paper for it, so it'll actually stick on your cling block. And it's so small, you really don't need to use a stamp platform. Do whatever you like, whatever you're comfortable with. Let me move it up here. Hopefully y'all can see that fine. And here we go. Okay, it looks nice and shiny. Here we go. Let's see if I got it right. Good. I rocked it just a little bit, and it's a little blurry, but let me stamp it again. I didn't like how that came out, so here we go. Let's try it one more time. Press down for just a little bit, just to make sure the ink transfers onto the paper, and then lift it straight up. That's good. That's much better. Okay. I'm going to set the stamp aside. Here we go. All right. Done with the ink. Now, set the metallic ones over. I have the Jelly Roll pens. This part, you do need your white Jelly Roll or whatever equivalent white pen you have. I have these little gel marker pens. These are actually called ProMark Sketchy, and I found them at a dollar store, and they color really, really nice. I have one Inkjoy pen and a couple of Papermate Flare markers. And I've got some scratch paper because I always like to start the pens and make sure they're good. Okay, I'm going to start with the hat very first, and I'm going to take the felt tip marker and a green color. I always tend to work from light to dark in the colors, and we're just going to go around the edge of this and do sketchy lines. We're just going to start from the edge all the way in and just lines, just getting some color down. Gonna go all the way around from here. Just getting your foundation color going, just straight lines like that. And you're gonna wanna work and leave the middle portion around the hat white. That's gonna create a little bit of a highlight and makes it look, gives it a little dimension. So just keep going. Don't worry if you get outside the lines like I just did there. We're gonna be fussy cutting them out in a bit anyway. All right, take your time coloring. We're gonna let this go, the actual coloring process. Won't speed it up or anything. Y'all have some time to color along with me. Hopefully it's enough time for everybody to get done. My goal is to have everybody finish the project at the same time. So let's give it a shot. So take your time coloring. So I'm gonna leave this in real time. And all the way down here, just edging it, leaving a little sliver for the white. And just almost dots here at the end because it's so narrow, and I still want to make sure that white stays in there. Okay, so I've got that done. I'm going to use that marker aside. And for the hat itself, I'm going to be using blue and purple. I'm going to start with the blue. These tend to, they draw really, really smooth, and they glob just a little bit, but the way we're coloring here, you can use that extra ink to pull it in. So starting from the outside edge, you're just going to kind of pull and flick it just a little bit like that. You're getting those wonderful lines, and they're really soft. So you like set your pen down and just flick it just like that all the way around, pulling it in just a little bit more, a little closer in on the white, and go all the way around the hat, both sides. Just keep flicking it. I love these ballpoint pens. They're so much fun, and they're really, I love the colors, how vibrant they are. There we go. I'm going to turn this a little bit. Then get the bottom. Actually, I'm more comfortable. I'm going to turn this upside down. Hope that doesn't make you crazy. Here we go. Just drawing it from the outside edge in, flicking it so it kind of tapers, it flares a little bit. Pull it a little closer into the white. Just keep going on that. Coming in, rotate it here. I know when I color, I'm always constantly turning the paper around to keep the orientation comfortable for my pen strokes, marker strokes, whatever I'm doing. Here we go. This area's getting smaller here. So keep drawing it in a little bit at a time. A little bit, here we go. Just adding the layers up with this ballpoint ink. I think this one is ballpoint ink, but the texture is really nice. Sometimes ballpoint just doesn't have that nice flow, and these do. A little bit of blue here, a little bit more here. Pulling in and just a teeny bit closer into the white on this edge here too. And as much as you can on the tip of the hat, the bottom. There we go. Still maintaining that little white bit of white in there. Okay, I'm good with the blue. That looks pretty good. Maybe add a couple more strokes in there. Okay, and let's move to purple, a darker color. Okay, scribble the pen to start it. Make sure it looks good. And again, all the way from the outside edge to the middle. Bringing it up, flicking it in. There we go. Couple long strokes. Bringing it in. There we go. All right. Moving our way up the hat here, each stripe section, and so many color combinations you can do on this and have a lot of fun. Do it red and white, do whatever you like. And I tend to use tons of colors on things because I just love color, so it's so much fun to play. There you go. Still working on the side. I'm on this edge. Wonder how you're all doing. Let me know if you're able to color and keep up, if the pace is okay. And my goal is really, honestly, hopefully we all can finish at the same time. I want as many of you to finish your card as possible. That's so much fun. I hope you really take the time too at the end when it's all done and all the videos are done to post in the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo groups your projects. Love to see what you did. Tag me, tag Blank Page Muse and that, so I can see them and get a notification so I can see what you did, because I really want to see too. But here, okay, I'm at the bottom. I'm almost just outlining the very bottom with some of the purple to bring it in. So again, as you get those darker edges, it starts forcing your eye to, you know, see some depth there. Okay. That looks pretty good. I'm going to set that aside. Now it's time for, actually, I'm going to bring in a little bit of, I'm going to use my Inkjoy gel pen in this kind of teal color for the very edges, and to fill in, there's a little bit of white and stuff of the paper. So I'm going to bring that in. A little bit here, over that. And a couple streaks out. There we go. Don't worry about if you get outside the lines. We're going to trim it in a minute anyway. Just fill in the colors best you like. Okay. That looks good. Okay. Now it's time for your white Jelly Roll pen. You're going to take your pen, start it, make sure it's all good. And this is really fun. It starts smoothing. It brings in some more strokes, so it really starts to look like it's a woven hat. There's stitches or layers to it. Again, following from the outside in, just flick and pull it in. It starts bringing those colors together. It smooths them out a little bit and emphasizes, helps you emphasize this white space here. There we go. You're kind of blending it with the white pen all the way around, bringing it from the outside in, just flicking it as you go. It's good. Keep going all the way around to the top and down to the little point. And just kind of going over the middle section here while I'm right there. Keep going. Again, I really like how the white pen smooths those inks together. Nice little blender pen, I guess you could say. Those colors were so nice and dark, and this helps lighten them, and it just really does tie it all together. It's a fun little trick there, I guess you could say. All the way around to this side. And even in the tiniest areas, I'm just pulling from each edge to the middle. And then kind of scribbling the pen in the middle to smooth it all out. And the very bottom here. Okay. There we go. Okay, the hat's done. What do you think? Do you think it needs a little bit more? Go ahead and take your time to add some in. It's pretty good there. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. And now I'm going to go back to the silver gel pen and all these little spaces on this part of the hat, this little stripe here, those white spaces. I'm just going to put a little silver in there. This one's not quite as fine point, so I have to go a little light. It's going to be kind of all over the place, but it'll still work. I really like the other pens because they're super fine point. So for these smaller stamps, they work really nice. There we go. Almost done, about halfway done there. Way up to the top. And then for the very bottom of his hat, this little tip of it, I'm gonna go ahead and just like we did on the tree, I'm gonna draw a silver circle. Okay? Once you have the little dot drawn on this hat here, then we're gonna go ahead and start moving all the way down. I'm gonna do the brim of his hat using the silver pen and just again making little circular motions, filling in that area with the silver. So he's gonna have a nice sparkly brim on his hat. I'm gonna go outside the lines. I don't really need those lines there anyway. And just get the ink placed, and that's good. Let's see how it looks. Oh yeah, that shows up pretty good. Hopefully you can see it too. Okay, for the beard, I'm gonna continue to do it in silver also, with the silver marker. And to color it, there's all these little spaces, they're like little drops, little V shapes. So you're just gonna kind of pick those out and use your silver pen and just start filling them in a little bit. Draw some of the ink in and up. I'm coloring from the bottom of the tip upwards to fill it in. There we go, a little there. Just pick out those little sections on the stamp and add them in silver for his beard. Gives us some wonderful texture, and find it the silver of this on the tips of his beard tie into the hat, and I think it's just cute. Neat way to do it. And a section here, a little section off to the side. And I'm only bringing the silver about halfway up of each beard section. I don't know what to call it, but just bringing it up about halfway. And then you can come back in with your white pen and finish coloring it in to put a little ink down just to tie it together. Okay, got that section there. I'll put a little bit of ink there. Looks pretty good. So my white pen, bringing it up. Gives you some stroke marks, so I guess that kind of helps make it look like hair a little bit too. Brings the stroke marks in. All the way around. Okay, scrub it clean. And I want to do his nose next. So I'm going to use the red and the pink pens. And I'm going to start with the red on this side. And just bring it around. Fill it in a little. Just a touch of pink. For right here. And then it's back to the white pen. So we're going to use this to blend the colors together. I'm going to keep this really white here because the white highlight here ties in with the hat. And then just swirl it around here. And up and over just a teeny bit. There we go. And his nose is done. I'm just scribbling off the red ink out of the white pen for later. Now I've got the area of his little jacket here, and it's got some stripes. So for that I'm going to be starting with some green and yellow, and I'll be using the ink joy pen in that teal color for the very end. So I'm going around the edges, coloring in, bringing in green in the bigger sections, all the way around. the bottom of the robe here to the corner. And I'm going to bring some of this green up into these sections of the beard here. Just a little bit. Wherever you think it might naturally show through, go ahead and add in that little bit of green or whatever color you're going to do for that, okay? Use a little yellow to blend it, pull the color together a bit. It brightens it. Okay, now to your darkest color from the bottom. Again, those little light flicking motions from the bottom edge all the way up. Let's see what a little blue looks like. I wonder. There we go. Filling in a little bit of blue. I've got a whole diagonal thing going so that pattern's staying put. The blue brings it back down just a little bit. I like it. Okay. And now the stripes. The stripes I'm going to do in pink. I'm going to do the main part in pink. Then we'll come in with a red pen just for a little bit of, just a little bit more color. Okay. That looks good there. There's a little bit of a, there's like this little round circle right here on the bottom part of him. I'm gonna add a gold drop all the way along the bottom, just in like 3 or 4 spots at the bottom of his beard. So it kind of looks like bells tacked in there. Okay. There you go. Okay, we've got everything done here. Now it's time to do the shoes. While you've got your gold pen, just do a little circle. It's going to be a highlight like at the top of his shoes. Okay. Then you're going to take your brown marker and just finish the shoe. All the way around again. Just go around the gold, leave that gold in there. It's just a little bit of a highlight, little sparkle. You use the brown along the bottom of his robe here too, just to fill it in just a teeny bit. There we go. Little spot I missed here on the gold. Just swirl it in. I just like all the shine. I think to me that's a lot of fun. Okay. I think that covers all of that. The coloring is looking pretty good there. But you know what? I want to add, I see a spot where I missed some silver. So I'm going to put some in right here. So yeah, look it over, see if you missed anything you want to add to it. Go ahead and do that. Touch it up. Now, give this a chance to dry. Let the ink dry. I know it's just ballpoint ink and it dries pretty quick, but I don't want to smear it, so I'm going to set it aside for a minute. Then I'm going to move on and we're going to stamp the sentiment. So get your sentiment that says, "Let your light shine." Okay. This is "Let your light shine." It's got these little cute snowflakes on it. Get that ready. And another small piece of white paper. I'm going to stamp it on the bottom there. It's about right like so. Ink it up. we go, that looks good. And set that aside. Once you have that stamp, set your sediment aside and your ink pad aside. Done with those for now. And gonna cut this out. I'm just gonna cut the bottom off. And the sides. I'm gonna square it a little bit. Okay, there's the sentiment. Set the scraps aside. Gonna go back to that silver marker, and in the center of each snowflake, gonna go ahead and do a dot in silver on the snowflake. All the way around. And it gives another little shine pop there, which is good. And like we did on the background border here, gonna go use the gold pen all the way around the sentiment. Okay? Just do another little scribble line all the way around the edges. There we go. Now, let that dry because those little gold dots or little silver dots, sorry, don't look like they're quite dry, so I want that to sit aside. We're good to come back to StarBright, and now it's time to cut him out. So just start fussy cutting wherever you're comfortable. I usually kind of start at the bottom and work my way around. Again, we'll leave this in almost real time, so everybody has a chance at this point to catch up a little and cut him out. And I wouldn't worry too much about coming in and cutting all these little lines out. Just get your general shape of the beard in there. Some of the little tufts that are there, they're easy. Cut around those, that's cool. And then just don't worry about the straighter lines. And I'm saving that curve around the hat for last. To me, that's a scary part there. It's such a tight turn. Get around his shoes. Okay. Let's see. Little area here I want to trim out. Clean this one area here too, get some of that extra white of the paper gone. Okay. Okay, coming around on the last part of the beard here. up and around. Hope I'm still on camera here for you. And the brim of his hat. And turning it. Okay. Got bottom part here to finish. Get these pieces out of the way. There we go. Okay, there we go. Got most of it. I managed to do it without cutting off the hat. Let's set the scissors aside and get rid of these scraps. Okay, I still have a little bit of area around him that I'm going to come in with the brown pen. Actually, I want to get a black pen. Let me grab a black pen. I'm going to use a real fine point black pen to come in and just fill in these little bits of white that I didn't cut close enough with, okay? Just take your time. Hopefully you're all on track here and about to cut them out or cut them out. And smooth that out. Gonna go all the way around the hat here. There we go. Got them cut out, looks good. Gonna touch up a little more silver on the very tip there. Finish that up, finish rounding it out. So you can make that circle at the bottom of his hat there as big as you want so you can cut it out. All right, I believe I am all done with the pens here. Got the sentiment, got him, put this aside. All right, he's gonna go somewhere right about here. Gonna put your sentiment right about the top on the edge. And I'm gonna go ahead and use some foam tape under the sentiment so it lifts up a little bit, and then just some regular straight tape runner on the bottom to attach StarBright to it, okay? I'm putting down another scrap just so I don't pick up anything off the mat. And here we go. Let's not block that. I'm going to attach StarBright right directly onto the background, overlapping a little of the tree, about right there. Press it all down, looks pretty good from there. Set this tape aside. I'm going to use foam tape on the back side of the sentiment, just so it gives a little bit of dimension. Add some no-stick scissors here, then it gets all goopy. And I want this sentiment in between the stars near the top and really close to the edge. Just tap it down. There we go, that's good. And now it's time to attach this panel to your slimline card. Have it all folded, and you can measure it if you want, but I just eyeball it and attach this panel onto the backer, and that's up. Here we go. Let me do that step for you real fast. So I have the sticky on there. I'm gonna eyeball it. There we go. Looks good from this angle. And gently pat it down. I'm gonna turn it over and just flat and press it down. Here we go. There you are. Let your light shine. Enjoy StarBright Gnome. He is all done and ready to go. Thank you for being with us today. Make sure you visit us at blankpagemuse.com and use the coupon code StarBright. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Hi, it's Kim from Blank Page Muse. Welcome back. And today we're going to make just a second quick project. It's this little holiday card, another slimline card. They're so much fun. You get so much space and room to play. So again, it's blankpagemuse.com, and we do lots of rubber stamps and stencils too. Here we go. I'm going to be using the Tall Tree by Pam Bray, a dove, a poinsettia, and then a couple of other holiday ones that say Let It Snow and Christmas Wishes. These are all stamps that are available in our store. And today it's really simple. We're going to be doing stamping and embossing. I love embossing. That was one of the most fun things I looked forward to way back when I started doing this. It's just stamping and embossing because it's so cool. You get to melt it and make things look awesome, right? Okay, so here's my background. This is a 3 by 8 inch piece of paper. Let me get a sheet here to hold the embossing powder. Try to not make such a big mess, right? Because it always blows everywhere. No matter what I do, it goes everywhere. I find embossing powder all over the place, but it's pretty. It's pretty. There we go. Okay. I like to use Versamark. This is what I have today. And for the tree on the background, I'm going to be using just gold. You can use gold, bronze, silver, whatever you have on hand. Don't worry about it. It all works fine. You just want some shine and texture. And that's the most fun thing I think about embossing, is just that overall texture you get. And I'm going to be doing partial images because I want it to go landscape mode there. Okay, I'm going to stamp the first one here, pick it up, get some powder on it. That looks pretty good. A little bit of stray sparkle, but it'll be fine. Put this over here. Hopefully I won't drop it. And sorry for the noise. Looks good. It's all melted. I don't see any of the darker color left. So cool. Let's keep going there and adding more tree to the background. Or tree parts. I'm going to use some of the branches and stuff too. Just add at different heights, just to add some interest and make a really fun little background. This one I'm going to do a little bit lower. Just get the tippy top there. Okay. When I'm embossing, I tend to stamp once and then emboss once rather than stamping the whole thing and embossing all at once, because sometimes I smear it and it makes me irritated, so I like to do one piece at a time. Okay, now I'm going to jump over to this side of the card here, and I just want part of the branches here. So about like so, up a little high, just getting that part. Good. It's covered pretty well there. And when you have a chance, we've got a special coupon code there for you. If you go to blankpagemuse.com, use the code StarBright and you can save 25% on anything you order. Awesome. Okay, and I'm gonna do, I think, one more section of tree right there. I said embossing is just one of my favorite things to do. And let's go up just a little shorter than the tallest one there. There we go. Perfect. Okay, that looks good. That's the background stamp there. And now I'm going to do a couple of the foreground pieces. And I'm going to be stamping those on craft paper and then embossing it in white. I'm going to set this aside and take off this. And I'm going to get a clean piece of paper so that the embossing powder doesn't get all mixed up. There we go. And I'm just using regular computer paper just to catch the embossing ink or embossing powder. And I'm gonna start with this stamp here. This is a really fun little holiday one, a vintage car and a snowflake. Okay, looks like it's a little thin there. I'm going to stamp it a second time. That looks better. And again, I'm just using a super fine white embossing powder. Use whatever you have. Just white on craft really looks nice, has a really nice wintry look, nice vintage feel. looks good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and heat them both up. Okay, those both look pretty good. I like this one a little better. It came out a little lighter, or a little darker, I mean. Okay, so that's good enough for now. So I'll set this stamp aside. Now I'm going to this little tag stamp here. And I'm going to also do this one in white. And it'll fit over here, okay. Alright, now I have these embossed and I'm going to go ahead and cut them out. I'm going to cut the tag out in the basic tag shape, and then I'm just going to cut these in a square. And I'm just cutting them by hand. I don't need them to be perfectly square or precise. I'm just going ahead and trimming around the edges, leaving a little bit of a border. And it's that. I have those two pieces. Then I'm going to do a little bit of an edge. I'm going to take the gold embossing powder again, and I'm going to go all the way around the edge of these really fast. So I'm going to take the embossing ink pad, and I'm just going to wipe it along the edge of both pieces. That just helps tie it in to the background with the gold trees. Okay. Alright, that looks pretty good. Set these aside and pour my powder back in the jar. And now I'm going to emboss the edges. And to hold them down, I'm just using the scissors protective piece so I don't burn my fingers. Okay, let that cool. This one, I'm going to brush off just a little bit of the gold on the edge there. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I've got the two pieces. They're going to go onto the card. I'm going to put them on about an angle like this. But now I want to use a little bit of this poinsettia stamp, and I'm going to do some stamping to fill in the background area. And what I'm going to do is, get this out of my way. I'm going to use the red, and I'm just going to stamp it on here just by hand, not even on the mounted block or anything, just to get some red ink going. And then I'm going to stamp some of it off here so that it's a little lighter when we go onto the background here. I just want little hints of the color. So I like it to be faint, just a little bit of a pattern. So ink it up a little bit, stamp some of it off, and then come back over to your card and just add a little bit in. There we go. Get a little ghosting going on. That's a lot of fun. There we go. Some on the edge here. You just get little parts of the poinsettia, and it just adds a little interest and color. There we go. Cool. That looks good. Set that aside. And I'll put that stamp in my pile there. Okay, so I've got this. And last one I'm going to do is the dove. And I'm going to stamp it in it's a blue teal color here. And I'm going to stamp it on a piece of white cardstock. And I'll cut it out really fast, and then it's a fast assembly. There we go. I'm going to set all the stamps aside. And I'm just doing a really rough cut on it. It doesn't have to be perfect around every little line. Just get the basics there. I'm going to cut around a little closer right here. And in between. Here we are. Okay, now time to assemble it. I want the dove up here in this corner. And I'm going to put this about right there, and the Christmas wish little tag right like so. There we go. And I'm going to use some pop tape for it just so they stand up just a little bit. I'm going to turn it just so it fits right into the space there. And I'm actually going to do this one flat so it'll tuck under. And we have the dove flying in right here. And let's attach the last part of the tag. And I'm going to have it a little bit of an angle, just like that. Okay, Once that's done, all you have to do is mount it on your card base. Your slimline card is cut from an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and you cut it down so that it comes out to be 8.5 by 7 and then fold it in half. Alright, I'll go ahead and mount this really quick, and then that's it. Didn't even use a tape runner. I just have this. This is what I have in my drawer, so it works just fine. I got the card folded, and I'm going to mount this on here. I'm not measuring it. I'm just doing it by eye. Whatever works for you. Okay, and there we go. Have a wonderful, elegant little holiday card. Thanks so much. Thanks for being with us today, and have a great day. See you soon.